I am travelling to our second World National Heritage Place, in the same place where two National Heritage Places meet. First one is obviously the Daintree, and the second is obviously the Great Barrier Reef. Enjoy this footage of what seems to be like a knifey kind of pencil fish and fish that are circling around it to avoid this fish. A bit of a jump. This is 2 hours later and we are here on the Low Isles Island. Right now I am in the water with all these sergeant majors, and sorry as the footage is very shaky, but there is a very strong current today in the lower reef. But just look at all of these fish everywhere. There's so many, and we're going to see so many different species of fish today at the Great Barrier Reef. And obviously we started off with sergeant majors, but we are going to be exploring the depths of these low isles in the Great Barrier Reef. I mean, look at that fish right there. There's so many diverse fish just right here, you can see. Right now we are currently wearing stinger suits, fully coated in the stinger suits. Even my hands are, so it's very hard to stop and start the footage. But also you can see the very diverse coral, including these staghorn coral right here, which are obviously the ones that are spiking upwards. And you will see a lot of that today. And you might be wondering, well, why is the coral quite yellow? Now, this is not bleached coral. This is very healthy coral. But at different times of the year, the coral look different. So most of the coral here is actually all alive. And look at the fish here. Oh my goodness. There's so many sergeant majors. But as I was saying, most of the coral here is alive. I only saw about 3 or 4 bleached coral, but everything else is doing really healthy considering Australia have had so many storms. And if you might have seen there was a parrotfish that just went off the screen. There's just so much fish, it's very hard to name every single one. And we're also coming close to our next destination here at Low Isles, and this is a giant clam we will see later. But wow, there's still so many diverse fish here. It's just crazy. And the coral as well. There's just so much of it. Enjoy the moment and try to feel as if you are in the Great Barrier Reef. The Great Barrier Reef is such a relaxing place, just listening to the waves. And as I just explore around, I begin to see the beauty of all of these fish. I mean, you might have saw that white and black striped one. There's just so much diverse of fish, but unfortunately, the Great Barrier Reef has been declining so much recently. due to the temperatures of the sea rising and even warming up. And by 2050, Low Isles, this whole island, wouldn't even be here. There'd be no inner reef to go to for younger people like me, which, you know, we could swim in the outer reef, but there's so much of like current and rips and all of that. It's like very, very hard to swim, where in the inner reef you can get in and out of the water and see the beautiful osprey on the island, which we will explore later. But with the sea rising and the sea temperature changing, some days this coral could all bleach just from the sea temperature rising. Well, everybody, the Great Barrier Reef is so amazing to witness and explore, especially all of the fish here, and we're going to keep exploring it and hopefully soon find the giant clam, because we have a marine biologist on the boat we are on, and I asked them what is their favourite thing about the Great Barrier Reef, and do you know what they said? They said, right here, the giant clam. This is just such a beauty of clam. I mean, there's even different fish by this giant clam. You can see the tang here, you can see the one with the orange fin right at the end there. You can see more of the black and white striped fish. You can see so many different fish just by coming to a giant clam like this. I mean, especially all of the tang. Look at all of these tangs. There's so many of them just here by a giant clam. And I think the giant clam is also one of my favourite things about the Great Barrier Reef. I mean, look at the size of this thing, and basically all the wildlife and fish is at this giant clam. It's like a meeting point for all of the fish. Right here is one of our best encounters, and this is a honeycomb grouper. How amazing is that to see a grouper? I'm just so surprised right now to see a grouper, especially a honeycomb one. And there's lots of honeycomb stuff around here, including honeycomb stingers, or honeycombs, stingrays, and I hope to see any of that really. But I think the word honeycomb is a very good word for an animal, especially a honeycomb grouper. Look at this transparent fish here. Unfortunately, I could not find out what fish it is, but it is still so cool to see. Now we have the transparent fish, and also the bigger fish there was a first parrotfish. And here is the big one again. You can see why it's named a parrotfish, because of the pink spot right near the end of the tail. But that is insane to see. But there's something even more insane. Look at this. This is a 6-bar angelfish, and look at it showing off to us right now. This is probably also the coolest fish we will see in my trip to the Great Barrier Reef. Just wow. I honestly need to work on getting overexcited, but I can understand why. But anyway, right here we have some of the coolest little fish, and this is a damselfish. Here is another parrotfish. There's just so many here. Look at this brightly coloured coral. That looks like it is doing very well indeed. Look, it's the honeycomb grouper again. Wow, this time we can see it fully around. Now, these honeycomb groupers are very shy, but I can believe why, especially when us divers are just going into their habitat. There is some coloured brain coral you can see right here. They are very cool. Wow, we have seen another tang, and we have seen this one before, but a closer up view is always better. Now unfortunately I cannot find the name for this tang, but it is still so cool to see a tang as beautiful coloured as this. Well, just for some proof, here I am right now snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef, and oh my goodness, what an experience this is right now. It's just mental on how many different species I've seen over in the Great Barrier Reef over these past few minutes. I mean, we must have seen at least over 100 species of probably fish and also just coral in general. Now, as you know, there is one major problem with all of these Great Barrier Reef and all the corals over here. And of course we did talk about bleaching, but this is also global warming, and I believe we have said this, but this is still a major problem because reefs are disappearing fast, and they predict by 2050, if we carry on how we are, literally what we are right now, this island and this area, or even this whole reef here just in this area, won't even exist, and that's in 2050. And a lot of us are all still alive then, especially me. So that's just crazy to think that where I'm swimming right now could be disappearing in 2050 because of our actions. And that is so sad to think. And I know I want to keep this video up and bright, but we do have to think about conservation, because a lot of people are, oh, what are we meant to do? But trust me, there's so much we could do which would help. the Great Barrier Reef. As we are finally out of the water, let's go and explore the island. You might think we are currently looking at a lighthouse, but if you can see that huge 2 nests there, and this is an osprey, and you can actually see one up there, and there's one right there that has just flown in. And these ospreys live on this lighthouse, and it's so incredible. Wow, look at that one flying in. So incredible to see them, because look at how huge their wingspan is. And you can find these back in the UK, but there's only a population of literally about 100 in the UK, and they are very rare across the world. But to see them right here is just crazy, especially their nests. I mean, look at how big the nests are. It looks even bigger in real life than it does on camera, and I can assure you that. I'm here at Low Isles, and right up there, can you see? Oh my, there's one there right there, an osprey. Oh, ospreys, as you just heard me say, and they've got 2 huge nests, and you can see. You can't really see the chicks, but you can see one there as well, and I think that's the other adult protecting the chicks. This is just so amazing to see here at Low Isles of breeding ospreys, as they are very, very rare to even come across in the wild. We are now on the glass bottom boat, hoping to see if we can see more, as we are heading way further out where you can't scuba dive. I mean, look at this whole entire fish. They look like tuna. They're all coming across right now. Oh my goodness, look at how many they are. And unfortunately you can't come out this far, and that's why we can see so much at the moment. I mean, it's not even that deep, but there's a lot more jellyfish in this area, so it's been sectioned off. But it is still so cool to see under the glass bottom boat. Hopefully this is something you recognise. Yes, this is a giant clam, and I believe this is another one, but these are by far the coolest things in the Great Barrier Reef. If you cannot notice right now, is that there's a lot of staghorn coral everywhere, and I told you about this earlier, but what I didn't say is that all coral are actually animals. They are living, they do breathe well under the water, and they are an animal that provides shelter for fish like clownfish. And because they are animals, they obviously die off, and that happens, but they are dying off a lot more because of global warming. Oh wow, look at the bluefish there. See, they use staghorn coral mainly, clownfish and then bluefish, is because it is like a shelter from them, from, you know, reef sharks and all of that that will try and eat them. So coral are a very vital thing for the Great Barrier Reef, and, you know, without it, whole ecosystem dies. Here is an example of bleached coral, and this is actually the first you've seen the whole episode, which is very good. But this does happen quite a lot in the Great Barrier Reef, especially when they have big wipeouts like they did with hurricanes, which bleaches a lot of coral. And bleached coral can come back to life, but it is quite rare, and you can see it right there. It's very distinctive because of how white and soulless it looks, really. Now, you might think bleached coral is them pretty much dying, but it is actually because of the stress inside them, because even if the water temperature changes just a little bit, it makes all the coral really stressed, and that's how they lose their colour and become very bleached. So they are animals, they get stressed and all of that, and if it changes back quickly to normal, bleached coral can come back to life. But a lot of the cases, bleached coral will stay bleached when they are very stressed, and it could literally be for 10 days, and most of it would die off because it's too stressed. Thank you for watching this episode, and I hope everybody has learned something about the Great Barrier Reef from this. This is Stinky, and basically the reason why we are filming him right now is, well, number one, he's a gecko in my bathroom, and I came in from the Great Barrier Reef to see this, and I was like, you know what? Cool, I've never had a gecko watching me while I shower, but sure. So I had a shower, cracked on, and he's cracking on shedding his skin right now. So good luck to Stinky. And by the way, I'm not going to tell you why I named him Stinky. Just, yeah, you could probably guess.